see. Hopefully that goes away. Here we stop looking at it, but okay, great. Well, we do record these so that they're posted online, and those that aren't able to make it to the meeting have access to the same information. So I'm Amy Birch, traffic engineer and consultant working with NDOT, and with me I've got.
I'm Jordan with the city. I'm an analyst at Kingwood and Orange, the department of traffic.
So we're glad to be back meeting with you all to show you our final plans that we put together, proposed for your neighborhood for Phipps. And because sometimes we have folks that aren't here before for the first meeting, we do go over some of our background information, and that way it's on the online meeting as well. But what's traffic calming? We, in this neighborhood program, we focus on residential streets. So Phipps is a residential street. It was a candidate for traffic calming, but we work and design physical solutions to help slow vehicles and drivers down on these residential streets, because that's our main target is speed reduction. And this image, this infograph really demonstrates our focus here is on safety. And Vision Zero. So as you can see, what this is showing is the speed of a vehicle and how fast they're going, and a pedestrian's chance of survival if struck by a vehicle going that speed. So on the left, we have 25 miles per hour. A pedestrian has an 89% chance of surviving that crash. But as speed goes up to 35 and 45 miles per hour, I mean, at 45 miles per hour, only 35% chance of survival. So that's really the target. What we're trying to do is slow vehicles down so that residents on their street are safer. This is a very popular program. We have a huge demand for traffic calming as of the last application window that we had, which was in February of this year, or the last selection. Yes, the last application window, sorry. We had 464 streets that wanted traffic calming, and those are shown in this image to the right of the county. The pink lines are all the streets that have requested traffic calming through an application. And then in the winter of 2023, our most recent selection, we selected 26 neighborhood streets for traffic calming. Your street Phipps was in the round before, but we just like to show the current information. So how do we get to 26 streets out of 464? We have a traffic calming prioritization process. We look at several different criteria. I'm showing right here the criteria when Phipps was selected, and that was 50% was based on speeds. We compared the 85th percentile speed, the measured speed on the street, that 85% of the traffic is going that speed or below, to the speed limit that's posted. That's worth 50% of the score. We also looked at crashes, vehicular crashes, and pedestrian crashes over a 5-year period. That was worth 20% of the score. We also look at active transportation, whether or not there's sidewalks on the street, if there are bike lanes on the street, bus stops nearby or on the street, and that was 15% of the score. And then neighborhood destinations, which is nearby attractions for pedestrians, parks, schools, libraries, places where we would expect within a reasonable distance from the street that people would walk to and from. So look at those things, and that is a 100-point total, and each street is scored based on this, and then the streets that score the highest in this process were selected. So Phipps was one of those. We have modified our prioritization process a bit. I just want to present this, and that has been in place now, but we are now, vehicular speed is still the main criteria. It's 45%, but we're comparing it to 25 miles per hour, not just the posted speed limit, because we're targeting that speed that we feel is more safe for residential streets. And most of the residential streets now in the county are 25 miles per hour. We're also incorporating volume, which is now worth 25% of the score. We've included in the crash analysis, it's more related to vulnerable users. So pedestrians, is what we're looking at there. And we look at 10 years worth of data and whether or not there was a pedestrian crash, severe injury or fatality on the street. And that's worth 10 points. The trip destinations and non-driver accommodations is still part of the equation. And those are, worth 5 and 15% respectively. So just wanted to share that updated information. So let's focus now on Phipps since it's in the program already. And so I'm just showing here on this map the limits of Phipps Drive that we're looking at. That's between Kings Lane to the south and Putnam Drive to the north. Here's the data, some of the data that we collected that's specific to Phipps Drive. The posted speed limit is 45 miles per hour, but when we measured it, we measured 85, the 85th percentile speed to be 37 miles per hour. So again, that's 85% of the traffic is going 37 miles per hour or below, but that means 15% of the traffic is going above 37 miles per hour. So that's that can be pretty high for a residential street. Daily volume was measured at 800 vehicles per day. So not a street carrying a whole lot of traffic. It serves the neighborhood and has a little bit more connectivity further to the north now, but it's not a incredibly high volume street. The street width's fairly wide, 30 feet, and there's some on-street parking used on the street as well, but there's no sidewalks. So I'm gonna talk some about our toolkit, measures that we use. See if I can get this. It's bothering me. There we go. All right. Speed cushions is our primary tool. We use them on a lot of streets because they're really effective. People tend to really like them when they're installed on their residential streets. And they're adaptable, meaning that depending on the street or the context, we have a lot of different configurations that we can deploy them in. We can shorten them, we can lengthen them for higher volume, higher speed streets. So these pictures here are just showing several different deployments that we've used. The street on the left top doesn't have center lines. It's got some extra shoulders, so we've installed a set of 3. They have the gaps for emergency vehicle response to be able to straddle those and not have as much impact to their path. Then this picture on the left has a center line, so the device also has a center line stripe, but this one has the wide shoulders, might be a bike lane, I think, actually. Yes. And so we've included the flexible delineator post on the line to keep drivers from trying to go around them. This on the right, these are some longer speed cushions that we've used. And as you see in this picture, we incorporate signage with them, warning signage to let drivers know about the devices. And they have the white markings or yellow markings, which also have reflectivity, so you can see them at night. So they are 3 inches high at their highest point. So this picture here on the bottom right is kind of showing that profile view.
Question.
Yes.
Given that Phipps has that blind heel, have you found in your projects an approach that, or which of the kit tool is best effective when you have those sort of blind spots?
Right, so we cannot install cushions like this in on hills and curves because of the visibility. So we have to place them such that drivers can see them on the approach. So we try to position them so that they're in the straight, either before or after the curve. It's not going. There we go. Speed tables, similar material or same material actually, because they're made of rubber and they're drilled in to the pavement, but these are expand the full width of the street. So they are tables because they're flat on top, and they're typically around 21 feet wide and 14 feet long. We use these sometimes on higher volume or speed streets, but it's not appropriate for Phipps. We prefer the speed cushions. So NDOT has been doing some data analysis and data collection to do before-after studies to see how effective these have been, where we can deploy them in Nashville specific, because we always get questions about how effective they are. So the graph on the left is average speed, and the graph on the right is 85th percentile speed, and then the first one is the before, and the second one is the after. So before, for our, I think it's 6 studies that we did, the average speed of those 6 streets was 31 miles per hour. And then the after, the average speed was 22 miles per hour. That's great results. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then for the 85th percentile speed, the before was 37 miles per hour, just like Phipps actually. And then the after was 25 miles per hour. So we really think they're very effective and when appropriately used. We also use radar feedback signs sometimes. So these are just signs posted with the speed limit sign that show a driver's speed as they approach. And then if a driver is going over the speed limit, they will flash. Oh, I should have said that these are also effective over lengths of time as well. We found the 85th percentile speed reduction about 7 miles per hour. We also do some pavement narrowing. Sometimes we'll have the white edge lines and then maybe add the center line or vice versa to just narrow and constrain the street. Traffic circles are devices and tools that we use at intersections to create a circular device drilled into the pavement. This is done with rubberized curb and then backfilled with asphalt. So these are used at intersections, typically 4-way intersections, and they're meant to be kind of like roundabouts where you drive counterclockwise around them. I know you two are familiar with traffic circles. We talked about that last time. Kind of have to have all the right conditions to get these installed. So we'll talk more about that maybe, but bulb outs and chicanes we use. The bulb outs are like painted bulb outs with flexible delineator posts used to narrow an intersection that's wide to kind of give that constraint for an intersection. This one I believe is Cleveland and 9th Street. And then on the right, these are 2 top and bottom pictures of a chicane, which is on, I believe these are on Fairfax Avenue, but basically they're done usually using alternating this parking on either side of the street, using striping to add curvature to an otherwise straight street. So outside the program, there are things that may come up that you're interested in, and they're typically would be referred to the hub. So that's a great place for things like you see a sign knocked down, a traffic signal's out, a street light is out, you've got a clogged drain, all the things that can get directed to the right metro department. So it's not just NDOT, it's all the departments. Walk and bike. If you have questions about can we get a sidewalk on our street or things about walking and biking, crosswalks and things, Anna Dearman's a good resource from NDOT. Her contact is there. And then beautification, neighborhood cleanups and street cleanups and things. That's JD Lane. He's the commission coordinator. All right, so let's dig in and talk more specifically about the plan for Phipps. what we have recommended is a combination of speed cushions and a painted bulb outs at the intersection of Lund and Phipps Drive. So this is just an overview shot. So Kings Lane is down here on the south, and Putnam to the north. And the trapezoidal Cs are the cushions, and the blue Bs are the bulb outs. And so for the speed cushions, this is showing what the configuration would be. So this, we're looking at doing a set of 3, and they would basically have 3-foot gaps between them and on either side, which is narrow enough to that cars really can't go around them. That's the goal, because we do know that if given the opportunity, drivers will go around the devices. The best and most comfortable way to go over these, and they're still very effective, is just straight over them. And not trying to like put one wheel on and one wheel off, but people will tend to do that. So the length of these is 10.5 feet long. That's kind of our standard for the smaller residential streets with lower volumes. And this is, okay, so now the north is to the right of the screen to orient you. This is Kings Lane, that always stop there. And then, so we have a set between Lund and Kings Lane. This is similar to what we had presented previously, but we have more details now about where exactly those would go. But it's basically to the south of address 490. And then we have a zoom in sheet of the bulb out, and we'll show that in a minute. And then north of Lund, you know, we have that steep grades. We can't put anything on there, but we did recognize that people are maybe coming down the hill going fast and wanted to tighten that intersection at Lund. So moving on to the north, we have a set south of Judd. So that's about at address 545 and 548. And then another set as you approach Putnam, and that's at address 569 on the east side and 568 on the west side. Sets of 3. And you see the leader lines with the signage, the warning signage saying speed cushion and advisory speed of 20 miles per hour. So this sheet is showing the pavement marking details and delineator post details of how we would tighten that intersection, because this intersection has huge radii. So we can tighten that with some paint and the bollards to get drivers to slow down, feel constrained as they go through that intersection. So we're tightening the width to 22 feet. And basically 11 feet lanes, one in each direction. And the radii go down to 20, which is more urban feeling. So any questions about the plan?
You're also able to add that to the cross section with Jen.
Or what is the reasoning for not doing it? Because I assume it's too late to change.
I mean, I don't know that that's,
Because
it was more that we were able to put cushions on both sides of Judd. You know,
Okay.
it's a three-way. So if we did do anything here, it would just be on those 2 corners, but
Maybe still like a lot of people can. So.
yeah, come out.
So I was just wondering if it is there.
we could look and see if we could do something there, but again, it would be only
There, yeah.
on that corner.
Even that makes them do much tighter circles when they go around.
But I would know. Fire. On the right side. Judd, first block, going down Judd, yeah. The other side.
Other side,
No, other side.
over here.
There's a fire.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at that. I don't think we would have another meeting but we would, if we decided we could do that, we would put that in the plan that was posted with the ballot that we'll talk about in a minute. But, so you would see if we would make that change or not. But again, we do have the cushions kind of on either side of Judd, and we really wanted to do something at Lund, knowing we couldn't do anything on the hill to the north of Lund. Any other questions on the plan?
Well, I'm sure.
All right, so this is our program flow, and so you see we're here at meeting 2, but we started with an application that was, came in, and then, through the prioritization process, Phipps Drive was selected for traffic calming, and then we had our meeting 1, we presented our concept, and then we, refined our design. And then now we're here to talk about meeting 2 and present that to you. And then from here, we're ready to move forward. We will move into the online ballot. And then after the ballot happens, then comes construction, which is a few months later. So the balloting, I want to go over the details about balloting. It's based on in order for the project to be considered favorable and moving forward, it's based on needing 66% of those that vote to be in favor of the project. So it's not 66% of the street, or 66% of the property owners. It's this 66% of the property owners that vote to be in favor. So all the properties that are abutting the street, so an address may have a Judd address, but it's a corner lot. I'm not sure if that's the case, but if it has any property abutting the street, that property owner would also have opportunity to vote. So we send these ballot cards. They're similar to the meeting cards. They have the QR codes that give you access to the online ballot. It also has a phone number, so if there's anyone that receives the card that is not, has any limitations to voting online, they can reach someone at NDOT and they can guide them through that process to vote if needed.
Question on that comment. When they are guided through the process, will they still have to cast their vote online? Are they able to give their selection and their unique code to the person on the phone?
They'd be able to give the code.
Because we got a few seniors on Phipps.
Yes,
They will need that.
right.
Okay.
Yes, they will be able to just provide that information, and someone at NDOT will assist. It is a 6-week balloting period, so we have an open date and a closed date. The closed date is posted on the postcard, so when you receive it, you know when it closes. And that gives us a window. We know there's an end date, and then once that closes, then we will post the results online. We don't post like the individual votes or anything like that, but just the results that, it was 80% in favor, and so it passed the ballot and moves forward. This is kind of just what the form kind of looks like online. So you enter your name and your address, and there's some statements of saying like, yes, I'm a property owner, and plus to enter your unique ID code. Yes.
One more clarifying question.
Sure.
Now that we are at this point in the process, we do not need a council person for this to finish, correct?
No. We're just concerned with the property owners and the votes, the results of the votes. And let's see, what else about the ballots? Any questions about the ballots? The voting process?
Just to always, please change it someday to not just be property owners, because very few property owners live on our road, it's all rentals. And a lot of the rentals have kids, and so people are affected by this.
Right.
And we can't really rely on them to really actually.
Well, they keep them.
Well, I can't allow them to reach out to their families.
Sure, can't rely on the landlords to reach out.
Portfolio.
I understand. I
Individual.
understand. I'll say that, to my knowledge, we haven't had any experiences where the landlords were out there voting no's on projects, but yes,
But-
we still want to hear from the, exactly. I understand, and this is our policy right now, but I appreciate your feedback. So this is the ballot zone, so all the yellow highlighted, properties are the ones that will be receiving the ballot. If there are vacant properties, I don't think there are any here, but, those wouldn't be excluded, and also, we only allow property owners that have multiple properties to get one vote. So then they own, 5 houses on this side of the street, but they only get one vote, now. So our next steps would be, we'll specifically, check the design, see if we can just incorporate some paint and bollards at those corners, and if so, we'll update the plan. I'll talk with our traffic calming team and NDOT about that. But we would, then send our postcard mailers, so those would go out in about 2 weeks. Then we have our 6-week ballot voting period. And then, if it's successful, then we move into ordering the materials. That takes 3 to 4 months. And then the install, once those are received, get those with the contractor, and that's 3 or 4 months. We're working to speed that process up. The contractor is really behind on getting things installed, so that's our current timeline. We want to be transparent about the length of time this might take.
Two questions. One, who is the current?
It's their on-call striping contractor.
And then two, with respect to bus stops, school bus stops, does their design team usually think about signs for that, or no, because they are subject to change in school?
Right, NDOT is not putting school bus stop signs up specifically, but, there's a current route, it goes through the neighborhood, right? So if there's a stop at Lund, that makes a little space that people
I'm
can
thinking
stand.
about this section, but I know that's where
Mhm.
the kids do catch the school bus. But I understand. MAPS trying to pay the next school year. That makes sense.
Mhm.
So you guys are fairly committed to this timeline? I can email you in 2 weeks and then every week after that? Because it's been
It has been,
380 days.
it has.
Since this project was announced, and I think 335 days since our last meeting, so. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that we can speed it up a little.
I am too, and, I apologize for how long it's taken, and, yep, we're ready to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really want to say that on the meeting, but I'll be happy to speak with you after. They're picking up some speed. I don't want to necessarily blame it on them either, but it's tough. One benefit is they get to catch up a lot in the winter, because you would think you would be able to put these in the winter, the speed cushions, but, you can, within certain, if it's not snowing and raining and things, but, it's not limited by the temperature as much as, like striping is, because they can't, or paving. Paving and striping can't really happen below 40 degrees. So we're expecting to catch up. And another issue is we're working with a lot of neighborhoods and doing a lot. And we actually NDOT actually has like some issues with how we can accept all of the materials in the warehouse, and store them for the length of time in order to get it to the contractor. So, but we're working through some of our backlog. We've through this program, we've fixed some of the addition things and moving this part up a little faster. And so we're hopeful that the contractor is going to speed up as well. But again, we want to be transparent about what our current timeline is. So there's the NDOT traffic calming at nashville.gov. email address and mine, so you can certainly email me. We can give updates. Another thing about the balloting is if you would like to know kind of an update before it closes, like a week or 2 weeks before it closes, you can reach out and we can pull that information to let you know we're at 70% or 50% favor, so we can give you that information, so if you need to do some door knocking and things like that. And as you do that process, if you are reaching out to folks and they've lost their card or can't find it, you can direct them to the NDOT traffic calming email address, and we can help communicate that, or the phone number that's on your ballot card. And that we can work through that.
How regularly is they being checked, the NDOT traffic calming measure? Because I remember last time with the comment that it does not regularly get checked, because it's the main source of even application.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
we've
that's all-
changed that. The applications now are done online, an online form. So that's been improved. So this is monitored,
Okay.
this email address. And then here in NDOT socials, if you want to follow, this is a QR code, and the address down here, trafficcalming.nashville.gov is a lot of resources for the program. That's where you can check the results of the ballots. The plans will be posted online. And also from the ballot, you will also be able to access the plan. So anyone that's not been familiar with the project but wants to vote or find out what's going on, they'll be able to see these same plans online. Those are posted there, manual, the meetings, these meetings that are recorded are posted there. So it's a wealth of information about the program and status for your street. There's a mapping tool as well. So, all right, any questions?
What does maintenance look like long term? And we may not have had them in long enough to do any maintenance.
Yeah, these particular materials we really like because they are modular. So if like one corner gets damaged, it's kind of easy to maintain or replace that piece, and you don't have to replace the whole thing. The biggest thing I think that we see is sometimes the markings will fade over time. And we have tools that we use, or we either put the markings on them or on the pavement in advance of the device. And they last many years. I mean, we've got some that have been installed for 10+ years that are still in good shape. When a street gets repaved, we also like these because we can pick them up, contractor and pick them up, store them somewhere while the street's being repaved, and then replace them back. So we don't have a new capital expenditure to buy new devices. They can be removed and put back a few times. So not a lot of issues that we have so far.
And what's the pass rate for the balloting?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so we've balloted almost over 100 streets now, I believe, and the pass rate is over 90%.
Okay.
So we think it's working. People are finding out about, knowing about the projects and participating in the ballot. And there are some streets that, there's not desire for it, fully. So we think that's pretty good results. And it's usually the streets we expect. Didn't pass. But yeah. What else? Answer.
Get my answer off the recording, but
Okay. We're not trying. But I mean, if it's not specific about, the program or the policy, we'll wrap up then. And I appreciate, yep, that was the last slide. Thank you all. Was there anyone there is someone on the call. Were any questions that you had? I think we can hear you if you have any questions, if you want to raise. Yeah. Making sure my screen is that my speakers are on, but they were, because I heard it earlier. Any questions from the phone call? We thank you for being on the call.